Hey guys, it's Jeff from Home Renovision, and today we are talking primer. Yeah, one of those words that everybody doesn't know what the hell it means. I get questions all the time in our members forum. People are generally confused. So since I keep on giving everybody the same answer, I figured I might as well take time. We'll make a quick video. We'll go through all the primers. We'll go through the equipment, go through applications. We'll talk about the cost. We'll talk about what you need for what situation. The difference between a product that you need. Of the 10 that are on the shelf at Home Depot, which ones are valuable and which ones are just marketing? Because there's a lot of paints out there that are being marketed. They're being sold to you out of fear, out of promising to deliver something that is just doesn't have any value. And I don't want you wasting your time or your money or having a failed project. So let's just jump right into this. Behind me, I'm in the basement. I'm about to do a drywall project. I gotta do primer. You can't just paint right over drywall. So, boom. Drywall primer. Read the fine print. If the word drywall doesn't come before the word primer, you can't use it on new drywall. Now there's a lot of companies out there that are selling a PVA drywall primer. PVA makes it sound technical and makes it sound important, but it's junk. All drywall primer is drywall primer. It's all PVA. You can spend $15 a gallon. This is a 2-gallon jug, so it's 31. You can spend 15 bucks, or you can spend up to $45 for PVA drywall in the same store. It's just drywall. Really what you're looking for here is a primer sealer. You want to paint that hits the drywall and sucks right inside. Seals it up, creates a nice solid white surface so that you can find out if there's imperfections. That's what this is. Keep it simple, keep it 15 bucks. No need to spend a whole lot of money on that. There are cheaper primers than this as well. They are generally much more water than paint, have a very low solid count so that you don't get a good white finish. Stay away from it. You get what you pay for when it comes to this stuff. 15 bucks is a good place to aim. And don't forget, I'm from Canada. A lot of people don't know that. Down in the States, I'm sure there's a better price available for you. This primer here, this is Bare Kitchen, Bathroom, and Trim Primer. It's a water-based primer, which means it's not going to do any stain blocking whatsoever. There's no such thing as a water-based stain blocking primer. Erase that from your mind. Everybody who's selling you a water-based stain blocking primer is marketing a product for you because you don't want to have to use oils. Bare sells a lot of product with primer in the paint, but it's not drywall primer. It's like another language. It means use this before you paint, but only on painted surfaces. That's what this is for. So what they want you to do is paint this primer on a painted surface and then use a Bare paint and primer in one to paint with. It's water-based, it won't seal anything, and the same stuff that's in this gallon is going to be in your paint anyway. Take that off the shelf. There are a few other products from other companies that are selling the same crap. Water-based paint called sealers, primers, stain blockers. Stay away from all of them. They don't work. I haven't found a single one. If you have a different experience, jump in the comments section. I'd love to have that conversation. Now, when it comes to the world of priming, there's only 3 main reasons why you gotta prime. One is it's new drywall. One is your house is extremely old and the paint that's on the wall is already oil or even lead-based. If that's the case and you're painting on that surface, you need to move to a transition primer. And there's a lot of those products, a lot of different paint companies out there selling a transition primer. They don't call it that on the label. They just call it an oil-based primer. Oil-based primers, which is what this one is, okay? This one's actually an advanced technology. It's my favorite. I recommend this to everybody. Oil-based primers actually work. They bond to other oil-based surfaces, whether they're shiny or eggshell or flat. It's a flat oil. Flat oil can also be used to prime exterior wood on decking if you're going to paint it. Prime exterior wood on your house if you're going to paint. You can prime, which means to prepare for paint. Raw wood, wood with knots. You can prime your lead-based or your oil-based paint. You can prime anything with this paint, because every brand new water-based paint that's on the market will also bond on the surface of this. This can is like a magnet for anything that's old and new that you got to put together, and that'll help clear it up for you. When in doubt, odorless Zinsser. You can paint this on its oil. Yeah, you got to have some mineral spirits or Varsol or something to clean up when you're done, but the point is it bloody well works every single time. It will never disappoint you. It's 85 bucks a gallon, so you make sure you bloody well need it before you buy it. The next option over here is called shellac. This is called cover stain. Put it simply, this will cover death. I was telling the guys earlier, if you had 10 people living in a room for 100 years, smoking 4 packs of cigarettes a day each, and then they all blew up all over the walls and ceiling, you could paint that room with 1 coat of this stuff and it would be done. Sealed. Problem solved. Okay? The problem with this is it is incredibly, how should you say it? You're just going to get stoned out of your tree if you use this. So you got to have a respirator. You got to have the proper filters to even work with this. You need a week of fresh air to dry this sucker out. It's only 60 bucks, but if you're working outside and you're prepping your wood and you got knots in your wood and you want to paint your surface, this is a great affordable option because it's a better stain sealer than oil. It's just that one little step up, and it's also only 60 bucks compared to 85. Quick recap. Only time you need a primer on a wall is if it's super old, brand new. So this is for for super old or new wood with knots. It's brand new drywall, you get this. Or if your room that you're painting is new latex paint, but somebody decided they wanted to do that whole, I'm gonna paint black because I'm going through a phase right now, Mom, and you wanna make it a real color again. Well, then you're gonna need a primer. And you might need 1 or 2 coats. You might need to have the paint store throw in a couple of shots of black ink to make it more of a light gray so you can cover that and then get a color. Because if you put orange over top of black, what you end up with is a really dark orange. You're not gonna get what you think you're buying. So that is the only time you actually need a primer on new paint, is if you're changing from a super dark color to something light. So there's 4 reasons. Brand new drywall, changing from a dark color to a light color, transitioning from old to new, or you're gonna get wood and you wanna make sure the stains don't bleed through, or if you're outside, you save some money. Now, let's just talk about the tools real quick. Get yourself a tray. If you're working with oil, get plastic tray liners, okay? Because then you can just throw it in the bag once it's dried up. And remember, when oil paint dries, you can throw it in the landfill. It's perfectly fine. 3-inch brush, roller, microfiber sleeve, okay? You cut and roll primer, and you can use your short extension pole or your long extension pole. And when you're doing drywall paint, especially, you wanna use lots of pressure when you're painting, okay? You wanna really push that paint into the paper. That's a great technique. Okay, now there is one more option, and that's what we're gonna do here today. I got myself a new toy. Now this is a high volume, low pressure. It's a paint machine and it sprays and it doesn't have air. Okay, so it's an airless spraying machine, and we are going to do this whole basement right now. In this video, we're gonna prime it. We're gonna show you how to use this machine because yes, I bought it because I got a bunch of projects coming up. I'm gonna use a machine. There's no sense in me renting anymore. And yeah, you can go down to your local Home Depot and you can rent a paint machine just like this for your next project so you don't have to cut and roll, all right? Remember, on this channel, we're gonna give you more than one option. There's no such thing as only one way to do anything. There's many ways. It all depends on your skills, your talent, your budget, how much ease, and how much pain you want to go through. But I bought this to get this project finished because we got another project waiting for us down south. We can't wait to sink our teeth into, and it's going to involve a lot of painting as well. So this just makes good sense for me at this time. I'm going to travel with it with my trailer and the RV. Woo, here we go. Now let's just clean this all up. We'll jump in to show you how to use this machine because there are tips and tricks and techniques, especially when you're getting started. If you've never used it before, when you're done this video, you'll know how to use this for sure. And we'll have finished priming our basement. All right, well, here's my little spot here to grab a hold of this, man. There we go. Just cut that loose. Just rip right off. Loving it. All right. Now the way you set up your paint sprayer is simple. When you buy it, you connect the nose. This is your primer, which basically, it's a fancy word for in the open position, it directs all the paint into the pump itself. And then when you close it, it fills the line to the gun. If you've ever primed a well water or lake water at the cottage, that's what that is. There we go. Now, generally speaking, that's right, it's a messy business, isn't it? Here we go. If you have a 5-liter pail, you can actually hook it right on. We're gonna turn on the switch over here. I'm gonna fill the pump. And fill this. Here we go. Now everything's filled. A couple of secrets to working with the gun. I haven't even adjusted my pressure yet. I think I'm gonna try going a little bit higher, get a little bit more paint coming out of here. It seems to come off with just a little bit soft. There's a dial on the side. Okay, you can adjust it according to the type of paint, the kind of finish you're looking for. If it starts to get drippy and cloggy, you can turn this around and whoo, blows it out, reverses the tip. Now, not to worry, we can say on that later. You want to be about 12 inches from the wall. You want to be perpendicular to the wall. So if you spray like this, you're going to get a high concentration and then fading out. And if you go up and down like this, you're going to get different concentrations of paint again. So the secret here is to have the wire and your gun so that you're working 12 inches out. Okay, and then you want to point the gun on the lead edge of your paint. And it gives you a nice overlap. Oh, yeah, this is working well now. Okay. And you can see the benefit of doing this because, hey, that's quick. It's a lot easier than using a brush and roller. Now, especially when you get to the ceiling parts, you can hold this right upside down, that's fine. And you can actually pivot this and then tighten this back up again. So now I can paint this way. Always let go of the handle before you stop moving. Otherwise, you'll just be spraying in one spot. That's about it for the lesson, okay? Really kind of simple. Wow, That's amazing. Overall, I was really happy with this. I turned it up to pretty much maximum pressure. I was able to make a nice, clean, smooth sweep at about 14 inches. Didn't have to do too much overlay. It's a really good full coat. It took 2 gallons to do the space, which I would have expected if I was using a brush and roller. I actually find that spraying is better than rolling when it comes to filling in all the hairline scratches that are in the drywall surface. It seems to fill it up a lot more even. This is probably because we're not using the roller and pushing the paint through the surface of the paper, and I think overall it gives you a better finish. All right, here we go, guys. Prime check time. It needs another 5 or 10 minutes. When you spray, give it about an hour to set up and dry, okay? We're a little advanced on here, but that's because I'm gonna try to send Max home early today. Prime checking, Hawk, 4-inch knife. We're not gonna put this in a pail and add water and mix it. We're just gonna throw it on the Hawk, and we're just gonna play with it. This is like being a kid. We get to play with our mud. And by whipping it up like this, you're gonna make it creamy smooth enough for what we're doing. Because we're not using a 4x10 and we're not filling big gaps, that's fine to avoid air pockets. You'll notice it's extremely kind of chocolatey because I'm using beige. When you're buying your mud, make sure for your prime check you use the beige. Here's why. I can see that. Tomorrow, when that comes back here to prime again, I have to prime my touch-ups. I'm gonna pull out the sprayer, I'm gonna look for all my beige spots, give them a quick shot after I sand, and I can be 100% confident that all of my prime check is completed. If I use regular white compound, when it dries, I'm not gonna see it on the wall. I run the chance of missing it. Remember, I'm in a basement, I don't have a lot of natural light. If I have a spot on the ceiling that I prime check and I don't sand it and I forget to prime it, well then I'm gonna paint my ceilings and then I'm gonna have a great big flat spot where it's gonna shine through and it's gonna drive me crazy because then I have to start right back all over again to sealing it and then 2 more coats. Drive you nuts, right? So don't do it. Use the beige mud. Make sure you find all your imperfections, okay? The rule of life is this: if you're standing 6 feet away and you can't see it, it doesn't exist. So don't go walking around like this looking for problems unless you're like me. And then that's what I like to do. I like to grab my lamp, stick it right up against the wall. And now I can see all the imperfections. But you know, honestly, between that sander, there's one. Not a bad day's work. Cheers till next time.